Welcome to the Legal Buddy app podcast, the nation's trusted resource for real legal answers, always on your side. We know legal issues can feel confusing, so each episode features experienced attorneys who break down the law in simple, practical terms. From personal injury and car wrecks to family law and everything in between, this is your go-to guide for straightforward legal support. This podcast is powered by the free Legal Buddy app, available now in the Apple Store and Google Play. Let's dive in.
Friends, welcome back to this episode of the Legal Buddy app podcast. I'm very proud to welcome you back for this episode, and more importantly, I'm very proud to also introduce you to Gene Hou, who is the founder and the managing partner of the Missouri injury law firm right there in the St. Louis area. Gene, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jim. Thanks for having me this morning. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. I really look forward to speaking with you. So today we're going to focus mostly on automobile accidents. It's a big part of your practice, but I'd like to give the viewers a chance to understand a little bit more about you. You actually have a pretty interesting background because you haven't always been on the plaintiff side, representing injured people. You actually worked for the other side for a while, right?
That's right, Jim. For a long time, actually, 15 years, I was working directly for a major insurance company, nationwide insurance company that operates in pretty much all 50 states. I did that for 15 years and rose up through the ranks. And at one point, they wanted me to be the managing attorney of the entire region. And I had to decline because it would take me out of doing what I love, which is practicing law. So I figured, well, this is a great opportunity to start my own law firm. And we just do the opposite now. We represent the people that are injured, and we take pride in doing that. And we've been doing that for the past over 10 years now.
Outstanding. Now, you have an actual team of attorneys there, all of whom actually worked on the insurance side for a while, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, so we all work, not just, a lot of lawyers around town and across the state would like to say, well, I did defense work. I used to work for the insurance company. They work, most of them, if not 95% of them, worked for a law firm that was hired by the insurance company, but not directly for the insurance company. And it's different. If you work for the insurance company, you're an employee of the insurance company in the legal department, you really get to see the inner workings of the insurance company. We have our lawyers here all work directly for the insurance companies. We're employees of the insurance company. So what does that mean? It means that, well, we have various duties and obligations as employees of the insurance companies in their legal departments. I personally used to help write their policies, right? Help with the policy rewrites, and they're very complicated. If anybody who's ever looked at an insurance policy, it's usually 50, 100-page long, and they speak in terms that are just not recognizable to the average person, right? So I used to do all that. I used to help train their adjusters in case evaluations, negotiations, how to pay less money or not pay. That's what they had me doing, is training their people. So what advantage does that give us? Well, it makes us very effective at representing our injured clients because we know exactly what they're going to try to do. We know how to use their policies and use the evidence in the case to win the case for our client. It's what I like to call creative lawyering. And we do that every day for all our clients to maximize that recovery.
That's fantastic. Everybody always talks about the fine print for a long time. You actually were the guy who wrote the fine print.
That was me. Yeah, I wrote the fine print. And, it's crazy, right? Because when problems come up, insurance companies are quick to say, hey, we need to fix this. We're paying out too much money here. So they would have guys and gals like me help rewrite the policy and get them what they need, right? So if you're the one writing the policy, you certainly should know how to defeat that policy language.
Outstanding. Now, as far as your practice goes, you're based in the St. Louis area, but you actually cover all of Missouri. Is that right?
We're all over the state. We have court all over the state. We have clients. We represent clients all over the state of Missouri. Because, that's what we do. We're all licensed in the state of Missouri. And having a Missouri license, it allows you the privilege of practicing law in all the courts across the state of Missouri. And these days, with all the technology and the ways we communicate, we can effectively represent clients anywhere, just as if they were literally in the building next door to us, right? And, there are some local rules and things that are different from court to court, but we always make sure that we're well versed in the local rules, right? And that's you're talking about court and litigation. And everyone thinks, wow, if I file a claim, I'll end up in court. I don't know if I want that. That's not what happens. I take pride in, our firm takes pride in getting settlements, great settlements for our clients without ever having to file a lawsuit because we work for the insurance company. We know how to push the buttons. We know how to build the case, and we know how to get it done without having to go to litigation, which is a huge time and money saver,
Yeah.
right? But we do handle cases all over the state of Missouri.
Outstanding. And once again, you're representing the person who's actually been in the car wreck. Somebody else hit them, or their negligence
That's
caused the
correct.
accident. You're representing the victim now.
That's right. That's what we do. So before we used to defend the person that hit him, the
Yeah.
person that's at fault. We defended the insurance company. Now we defend the victim, the person that is injured in a car accident through no fault of their own. Oftentimes it's the driver of the vehicle that's not at fault. Oftentimes it's the passengers of a vehicle. The passengers didn't do anything wrong, right? So we represent a lot of individuals in Missouri that are injured as a result of somebody else's fault or negligence, right?
Outstanding.
That's what we do.
And that's what you're going to prove, or try to prove at least, when you take on that client. Let me ask you this. You mentioned it earlier. Litigation gets expensive, but what about hiring an attorney for an injury case? I mean, that seems like that could also be, kind of an expensive endeavor. I could probably do it on my own. At least I may be thinking that initially. But what's interesting is the way your fee structure is set up. You want to talk to us a little bit about how that works?
Yes, absolutely, Jim. So, yeah, a lot of people have the misconception that if I hire an attorney, I'm going to have to pay that attorney by the hour. I'm going to have to pay that attorney no matter what, even if I don't get $1. And that's simply not true. That's certainly not true with Missouri Injury Law Firm. How we do it is we're on a contingency fee basis. So we only recover a fee if we win the case and recover money for you. And it's absolutely no risk. The beauty of it is, there's expenses and things that come up in terms of making a claim and filing a lawsuit, when you have to take depositions or file a case in court or get somebody served with a summons or a subpoena. All that costs money. We front all those expenses. Okay. The client never writes us a check. We don't need money to get started. There's no retainer. We don't bill anybody by the hour. Okay. We only get paid if we collect money for that person's bodily injury. And, that it makes it so that the clients understand there's no risk. And what they're getting is quality legal representation, somebody that's going to know how this works and be able to recover the most money possible for that client. Because if you go it yourself, yeah, you may not have to pay 1/3 of your settlement to our firm. However, the problem is you're not going to get nearly as much money as we would recover for you. And that's the facts. I mean, the data would show that. I know that. Yeah, that's my experience. I can tell you that there's the insurance companies, what they try to do is as soon as, after you've been in an accident, they try to contact you. They try to take a recorded statement, which is a no-no, right? Don't do that because they'll try to use it against you later on to reduce the value of your case or not pay you at all. But what
Gene, they were so nice. I mean, they just asked
Oh,
me.
I know. They're the nicest people after an accident. It's only when they don't get their way, then they get really mean. And that happens in almost every case. And they have these programs, what they call them, early opportunities to settle. What they do is they try to throw $500 or $1,000 or even $2,000 at somebody just to get them to go away without getting a lawyer, because they know if they get an attorney, especially a good attorney that's well versed in this area of law, they're going to recover so much more money, and the insurance companies know it. So they have these early opportunities to settle programs. And I always tell people, don't do it There's things that you just don't want to do after an accident, and that's one of them. Don't sign anything. Don't give a recorded statement. Don't take the, $1,000 or $1,500 they throw at you, because your case is worth so much more. But there's certain things that you need to do, right? And consulting a qualified personal injury attorney, an experienced one, is absolutely the first thing you should do.
It's outstanding. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, if it doesn't cost me anything to hire your firm, which is great, but generally I'm not going to get any money, for the accident until it either settles or I get a jury verdict way down the road. What about the bills that I'm getting right now? Is there a way that I can get some cash up front that it actually helps pay some of the bills, or at least helps me, make it to the next month or the next couple of weeks anyway?
Yes, Jim. That's a great question right there. So yeah, everybody, after an accident, it's tough times for the people who are hurt, right? You have medical bills stacking up. Sometimes you can't work, right? And some people don't have enough sick time saved up. They don't have paid sick time or paid personal time they can use. So you're really in a tight bind. So what we do is, first of all, with the bills that start coming in, we try to defer all those bills so you're not having to pay all those bills right away. What we do is we defer them until the case is settled, and then we help you take care of those bills with the settlement money, and we help you negotiate down all those bills, like, significantly. So more money ends up in your pocket, right? And we always make sure that, in addition to paying our fee, in addition to paying off all the medical costs, that there's still a significant, substantial amount of money left over for our client, right? Because that's what this is all about, is to compensate them for their injuries and everything they've gone through. And there's also, people don't know this, but a lot of people in their own insurance policies carry medical payments coverage. Okay. And what that is, it's to reimburse you for medical expenses that you've incurred as a result of the injury or the accident. Insurance companies would like to not tell you about that, right? And that's through your own insurance company. And even when they do tell you you have medical payments coverage, what they do is they try to get a bill, say from an emergency room or radiology bill, and they just take your medical payments coverage and just pay that bill. And you never see any of that money. And they don't try to negotiate down the bill. And next thing you know, all your medical payments coverage has been exhausted. They
And I
don't care
really didn't
about
have a say over it at that time.
yeah. And so you're out. Now, what we do is, if you hire Missouri Injury Law Firm, one of the first things we try to get after for you is the medical payments coverage. And it can be anywhere between 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 25,000, 50,000, right? Just depends what you bought and what you paid for. And a lot of people don't even know they bought it, but they have it on their policy. And if you don't, you should get it. But, it's fairly inexpensive coverage, and most people do carry it. And we get after that right away. And we make sure that the insurance company, we don't allow them to pay it out to whomever they wish and ignore our client. What we try to do is secure those funds so that our client can use it for whatever they wish, whatever they need, because this is a time of necessity, right? They need this to stay alive, to pay the bills, to take care of their families, to pay their co-pays. So
Well,
that's what
especially if I'm off work, right? Yeah.
right. Yeah. So one of the first things we do is we try to get them that so that we can get some recovery going for them right away. And then that leads into the next thing is, most people that call us, they're concerned about the car damage, the property damage, right? And what we do, and we do this without a fee, we do this as a courtesy for all of our clients. What we do is we help them secure the maximum value. If their car is a total loss, we get the maximum value for them, and we don't charge a fee for that at all. Any money we get for property damage goes directly to the client. Or if the car needs to be repaired right away, we
Right.
we get them into a quality repair shop, one that we know, that's going to do a great job. Cars are going to come out looking brand new. And we make sure that we help them with the rental car while their car is being repaired. So those are just value-added services that our firm provides at absolutely no cost.
Well, that's outstanding. What,
Mhm.
so again, you've got the technology to handle cases all across the state.
Yes.
If I'm injured, it doesn't cost me anything to pick up the phone, call you, hire you to represent me. You're gonna help me look at my policy to find out if I've got med pay coverage, which is
Correct.
outstanding.
And other
And,
things. And other things. There's other coverages that could come to light. Uninsured
and
motorists, underinsured motorist coverage.
so tell
So
me about
many.
that. How does that work?
So in Missouri, everybody is required to have underinsured motorists when they take out an insurance policy on a vehicle. And that's comes standard with every policy. A lot of people don't know this. So that comes into effect when you're in an accident with somebody that has no insurance. And there's a lot of people driving around out there with no insurance, right? So that's a coverage that protects you. And if your limits are low, that's something you might want to think about increasing now. But most people, everybody has it. If you have car insurance, you have uninsured motorist coverage. And so when you're in that situation, we go to bat for you because we know how to get it and we know how to get it all from your insurance company. Okay.
Outstanding.
There's another thing though called underinsured motorist coverage.
So this is that UM/UIM thing I see
Yes.
in the policy all the time. Okay.
That's exactly right, Jim. So when you look at your declarations page, that's the page that tells you what kind of coverage you have and how much limits and how much you pay for it. That's a declarations page or deck page.
Okay.
And when you look at that, if you see UM, that's uninsured motorist. If you see UIM, that's underinsured motorist. And that comes into play when you're in an accident with somebody that, say you're badly hurt, and you're in an accident with somebody that just has the state minimum, which here in Missouri is only $25,000.
Well,
And with the rising cost of healthcare, it doesn't cover much at all, right?
yeah, if I end up going to the ER and I've got MRIs and maybe a surgery or
Oh,
something like that,
goodness.
I'm well past that.
You're well past all that stuff. So that's why underinsured coverage is so important to have. And if you don't have it, get it, right? And I would suggest get it at, for about $100,000 coverage per person. Because so many people only have the state minimum of $25,000 liability coverage. You want to be able to go to your own insurance company, some premium that you already paid for, and say, hey, this guy didn't have enough insurance. I'm hurt bad. I've got a lot of bills. I've got a lot of damages, and we're going to help you get that underinsured motorist coverage. And there's a lot of wacky issues with that. There's issues like set off. Do they get to set off the $25,000 that the at-fault driver, already paid or not? Right?
Right.
There's stacking. Can say you have multiple insurance policies that come into play. Can we stack those limits to get you more money? Right? Those are issues that we handle day in, day out. And those are issues that, especially the attorneys at my firm, we're well versed in those issues. And we know what it takes to make that recovery for our clients. But these
Man,
are all you need to be aware of.
I'm starting to think this may not be something I want to do on my own, right?
No, it's a bad idea. It's a very bad idea because you're going to end up shortchanging yourself and you're going to end up losing to the insurance company. These are professionals, trained by people like me when I work for them, right? And all they're doing is trying to limit your recovery.
Do you need a lawyer now but don't know what to do? You need Legal Buddy. Legal Buddy doesn't just connect you to an attorney, it gives you the do's and don'ts when you need it most. With Legal Buddy, you will know your rights, get instant legal support, know what to say, never guess, and get the help you need before it's too late. Only Legal Buddy puts clear, real-time information in your pocket, plus direct access to attorneys at your fingertips. Always ready, always on your side, Legal Buddy.
One of the things I thought you said earlier that I found really interesting is, normally when I get a bill, from, let's say it's my electrical bill or my water bill or whatever, I pay it. It says it's $100. I write the check.
Right. Yeah.
When it comes to these medical bills in an accident, you can actually help me negotiate those down so I'm not paying that face amount.
That's correct. And when you're getting these bills, they pile up fast. And like we talked about earlier, the cost of medical care just keeps skyrocketing, right? And so, these bills become exorbitant. And what we do is not only do we defer the payment so that you're not hit with this when you're down. It's like when you're in an accident and you're hurt bad, and then they slam you with, really gross medical bills on top of that. It's like somebody's just kicking you and punching you when you're down, right?
It wasn't even my fault.
Yeah, and then you're not even at fault. And that's the biggest thing, is somebody else's fault. So what we do is we make sure that we get all the medical bills, and we tell our clients, as you get the bills, give them to us. Don't try to take care of it yourself. Give them to us, because it's something that you should not have to worry about when you're down and out. We will then defer the payment, and then when it comes time, when we settle your case, we make sure that we negotiate all those bills down. We bring them all down so that if we bring the bills down, more money goes into your pocket from a settlement, right? And
More down
so
the payment.
that's one of the biggest things that people don't realize. When they hire a qualified personal injury attorney, that's one of the services that must be provided. It must, because everybody out there likes to represent, we can get you maximum recovery. Well, maybe they can, maybe they can't, right? That depends on your experience and how experienced you are in dealing with insurance companies, how much you know what the insurance companies are going to do. But the big factor is, what can you do? What's your experience in negotiating down these medical bills? Because they're going to be exorbitant, right? And then for a lot of people, they don't have health insurance, right? And that's a big issue too. So when you're in an accident, you don't have health insurance, they're like, how do I get coverage, right? Or how do I get medical treatment? Because so many providers don't take you if you don't have health insurance. So what our firm does is we have a network of providers that we can refer you to, who'd be willing to treat you without health insurance, and we'll make sure that we take care of all those bills when the case settles.
Man.
And that's another big added bonus.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you guys are going to be able to handle basically all of it for me, and I can
All of
focus
it.
on healing and trying to get back to work. I mean,
And that's what we want. Yes, Jim, that's exactly what we want. We want our clients to focus on themselves and their families, right? After an accident, we want them to focus on getting better, getting all the treatment they need, and really finding out how badly or to what extent they're injured. Because people get hung up on, say, like in a car accident, they get hung up on their car. And I always tell people, please don't. Let us help you with the car. We'll get that repaired. We'll get it replaced. We'll help you with that. That's not where you should focus your attention in a personal injury case or in a car accident case. You need to focus on your injury, right? And you need to focus on what kind of impact this is going to have on you going forward. So many people like to rush through treatment or not get any treatment at all. It hurts your case because, one, you're hurting yourself, right? You don't know, you're not getting the treatment you need to get better. And two, you're hurting your case because so much of your case's value, which an insurance adjuster will look at, is determined upon what kind of injuries you have and the extent of your treatment, right? And another thing people do is they rush into settlement without knowing their future medical costs or potential future medical necessities. So people will, get into a bad accident, they'll have a herniated or bulging disc, and they try to make themselves better, and they feel like, yeah, I'm getting better. Maybe this is going to resolve at some point down the road.
Yeah.
And then say 2 years down the road, it doesn't get better, and they go to their orthopedist, and the guy or the doctor will say, well, you're going to need surgery for this, and it's from the accident. Well, I already settled my case. Well, then you're out of luck, right? Then you didn't hold the person that's at fault accountable for those future medical costs. And so we help you through all that. We make sure we take those things into consideration. We make sure you're properly examined, and we try to do our best to find out, are you going to need future medical care? And if so, we factor that into the settlement, right? That's really, really important.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I could imagine, if I've got some whiplash or maybe a low back injury that, I could see that, maybe I can get through that over time. But if I'm in a more serious accident where maybe I've got a concussion or some brain trauma,
Right.
it's
Right.
going to take a lot longer for me to recover from that and to try to
That
figure
is
something out.
absolutely right, Jim. That's absolutely right. And, like you mentioned concussion, so many people with concussions think there's nothing they can do about it. And that's not true, right? If you see a neurologist, somebody that specializes in traumatic brain injuries and concussions, there's a gambit of treatment that can be rendered to help make you better. But again, sometimes that treatment only works for so long, and you may need additional treatment in the future. And so it's really important to find out, what more do you need? and factor that in before you settle or negotiate anything, because you never want to leave yourself short. And really, at the end of the day, it adds value to your personal injury case.
And so, Gene, in a serious case like that, especially with any kind of head trauma, do you bring in experts to help kind of evaluate kind of what that recovery path is going to look like for me?
Yes,
And they help you figure out the costs so that when you're making your
absolutely.
demand?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's a great question. A lot of people don't understand the complexities of that, but we have experts that we use that are well qualified, right? Depending on the type of injury that you have, you'll need the expert to be able to establish the evidence that you were injured in the accident, that you need future medical treatment, what type of treatment, how much it costs, right? Some cases are so catastrophic that people need a life care plan. And we are able to secure the proper life care planning expert to kind of project what your life care costs will be going into the future. Right. And it's huge. It's sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, they're astonished. They don't know that it costs so much just to make sure that you maintain your ability to function as a person. Right. And so that all that requires proper experts, people in the field that know what they're talking about and can help analyze those costs and project those costs.
I mean, I might have had a small four-door and I was in this big accident. Now I've got maybe I can't walk or something like that. I mean, I've got to get a different kind of vehicle. I've got to get an adapted vehicle. You can take that into account in terms of the negotiations with the insurance company?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. It's something that must be taken into account because your future medical costs, your future costs of just taking care of yourself, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
where the life care planning comes into play. And these experts are very skilled in figuring out what you need and how much it's going to cost. And you have to factor that in so that when you do settle the case, again, you're being properly compensated. Okay. And so all that is part of our creative lawyering, that we look at every aspect of the case and we leave no stone unturned, especially when it comes to insurance policies or getting you coverage, right? We have to make sure that and we've done this so many times. We just did another one recently where we were able to open up a purse of insurance money for one of our clients
Right.
where it just simply wasn't available. But we know insurance, and we were able to creatively use our knowledge, to open up additional sums of money for our clients to collect. And we do it day in, day out. That's what puts us, in my opinion, is what puts us a cut above the rest of every other firm out there, is
Well,
that we do that for all of our clients.
and I guess if I'm paying all these premiums every year, if the insurance isn't paying it out, they get to keep it, right? So,
They keep it. That's how they make money. Insurance companies make money by collecting premiums, and the profit margin is their loss payouts, right? And their expenses. So if they can keep loss payouts down, which is paying people less money or or not paying people at all, that's the profit for the insurance company. And that's their goal. This is a business for the insurance company. They're not concerned about any individual. They're not. It's as much as you like to see their ads and, sometimes it's very heartwarming. That's not why they're in business. They're in business to make money, right? And that's how insurance companies make money. They collect premiums and try to pay out as little of that premium money as possible. That's the profit.
well, Gene, we've got a few minutes left in today's discussion. Could you do me a favor? If I were in a car wreck, later on today, God forbid, could you kind of give me a few things that I need to think about doing immediately after? What do I do? What should I do? You've got really good experience,
Yes,
helping all of these injured car wreck victims out there. Are there kind of like a top 4 or top 5? Your website's probably got a lot of this information, but
we do.
just for the sake of conversation, are there 4 or 5 things you might say, hey, try to do this at the accident scene that could help me
Yeah,
later?
sure. That's a great topic for discussion because so many people don't know what to do. And in fact, they're in a state of shock. So I always tell people the first thing you need to do, okay, is to make sure you're okay and that you're in a safe area, and then call the police. Call the police, make a police report, and make sure you tell the police exactly what happened and tell them about your injuries, or even, if you're not sure right after an accident, if it's not visibly apparent, if you're not sure, tell them, hey, you know what? My neck hurts, my back hurts, I'm a little bit dizzy, I may have blacked out. And those things are very important. If the police officer says, hey, you know what? I'm going to call an ambulance for you, don't refuse that. Okay. Take them up on their offer because they're trying to help you out. And if they say, hey, we should take you to the hospital to get checked out, definitely get checked out. Get checked out right away after an accident. We've had people who didn't get checked out and weeks later develop a seizure from the accident. And then
Wow.
now they're stricken with seizures for the rest of their life. Had they been checked out earlier, maybe some things could have been done to help them, right? So get checked out. Document the scene if you're able to, right? Depending on the severity of your injuries and where you are, where the accident happens. If you can document the scene by taking pictures of your vehicle, taking pictures of the other person's vehicle, any injuries, any cuts, contusions, abrasions, bleeding, take a picture if you can safely do that, right? But doing that is going to help preserve evidence in this case, just like going to get checked out right away. It helps preserve the evidence in that it preserves the fact that you were hurt in this accident. Insurance companies like to say, hey, you didn't see anybody right away, so you must not have been hurt. And they use that against you. So go get checked out by all means. So exchange information, right? Make sure you have the other party's information. Make sure you have their name, phone number, address, driver's license number, an insurance company, and their insurance policy number. That way you have the vital information. The police officer, and this is why it's important to call a police officer, they will give you a report number, and we can help you get a copy of the official police report later on because you're going to need that as part of your injury claim.
Okay.
So those are very important things. Beyond that, I would say an insurance company may try to contact you right away. Okay. And it's usually the at-fault party's insurance company. And what they're doing is damage control. They want to, they want to take your recorded statement, have you say certain things that can be used against you. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just simply tell them, I'm going to consult with an attorney and you're going to have to speak with my attorney. And the best thing to do then is call our firm. Let us help. Let us advocate for you so that you don't make mistakes or, to step into certain traps that the insurance company is going to set for you, right? So those are just some tips that I would say everybody, should know after a car accident.
Outstanding. Well, Gene, let me ask you this. If I'm in an accident, my family's in an accident, and I do want to get in touch with you, what is the best way for me to do that?
I think the best way to do it, and I'm kind of old school, but just pick up the phone. Call us. We're available. We're always available. And that's the one thing at our firm. If you call us and you say, hey, I need to speak to a lawyer right away, you will get me or one of the other attorneys at our firm. We don't pass you on to an intake person. You're not talking to a legal secretary or a paralegal. You talk to an attorney because that's what this is all about. It's about getting legal advice. And who gives the best legal advice? A qualified, experienced personal injury attorney. So call us at 636-333-1717, right? Best way to do it. All right. The other way you can get a hold of us is, if you go to our website, all this information is available, including what to do after an accident, our phone number. We have various buttons that you could just simply click. And you could email us and tell us what happened, give us your some information about, your contact information, and we'll reach out to you right away. So on our website, which is at injurylawyers-stlouis.com. So that's injurylawyers plural St. Louis, stlouis.com. That's our website address, and you find all that there. If you want to email us, it's help@injurylawyers-stlouis.com, right? And you can contact us that way. But I would encourage anybody to go to our website. And I know, you may not be injured at this point. You're not in an accident. But if you really want to just have a few tips and ideas of what I need to be prepared for if and when that ever happens to me or one of my loved ones, go to our website, go to our frequently asked questions, FAQ, and it'll tell you what to do if you're in an accident, a car accident, if you're hurt at work, because we handle a lot of workers' compensation or work injury cases. We have little tidbits that we like to share just so that you're prepared, right? But again, best way to contact us, just call us, 636-333-1717.
Outstanding. Gene, I really appreciate your time today. I can imagine how many files you've got on your desk right now. And how
My
busy
goodness.
you are. But you took a half an hour or so out for us, and I really, really appreciate that.
No, Jim, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure speaking with you this morning, and it's just good to get this information out there so that people have some guidance, some direction, and know that, they're doing themselves a huge favor if they call somebody that is well-versed, well-experienced in this area of law, and that's what we do day in, day out at Missouri Injury Law Firm. So just give us a call if you need our help.
Outstanding guy. Hey, Gene, it's been a pleasure. Thanks, folks. Thanks again.
All right. Thanks, Jim. I really appreciate it.
Right.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Legal Buddy app podcast, where we're always on your side. If you liked what you heard, download the free Legal Buddy app today in the Apple Store or Google Play to instantly connect with attorneys near you. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube for more tips and updates. Until next time, remember, Legal Buddy app is here to help. We're always on your side.
Legal Buddy app is not a law firm and does not provide legal advice. All services are provided by independent attorneys who advertise on the Legal Buddy app platform. The materials and information contained on this podcast are for informational purposes only. These materials and information are not intended to constitute advertising, solicitation, or legal advice, and the transmission of any information from this podcast is not intended to and does not create an attorney-client relationship between Missouri Injury Law Firm, LLC, and you. Missouri Injury Law Firm, LLC assumes no responsibility for the accuracy or timeliness of any information provided through this podcast. The reader should not act or refrain from acting based on the information contained in the podcast. Missouri Injury Law Firm, LLC expressly disclaims all liability with respect to actions taken or not taken in reliance on any or all of the content of this podcast. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.